Today we're doing a wen trimming procedure on my goldfish Jigglypuff, and this procedure is basically just to do one thing, to trim the fleshy growth, which is known as the wen, away from the eyes of my goldfish, so my goldfish can see better, because sometimes that wen growth can kind of grow a little too much around the eye area, and it can block their vision. This makes it difficult just for them to see where they're going, and also to see food when I drop it in the tank. I've been seeing a lot of your comments saying she needs a wen trimming procedure, and I know that she's been needing one, but I'll be honest, I do not enjoy doing these wen trimming procedures. They make me extremely nervous because one little wrong move, and one, I can either puncture my goldfish and blind them, or two, if I overdose the clove oil, I can kill them that way. So, I do not enjoy doing these procedures, but, in certain cases, I should be doing it, just to clear up their vision a little bit, and this is one of those cases. So I do want to show you what Jigglypuff looked like before the procedure. As you can see on her left side, that wen is almost entirely covering her eye. There's like one little sliver of a part that kind of flaps open here and there where she can see, but there is a lot of coverage. So that side needed it really bad. The other side, there still also is a good amount of coverage. Not nearly as bad as the other one, but the other side needed some trimming as well. I only do these trimmings if it's a pretty bad case and it grows to a good amount. And for this one, it's definitely there. For this procedure, you need two buckets, one recovery bucket and then one bucket where you're going to make the sleepy water. So I fill up two 5-gallon pails, both with around 2 gallons each. And then of course, we get our beloved goldfish Jigglypuff and we place her in one of the buckets. We now have Jigglypuff in the bucket and we're ready to start the procedure. And before I do that, please keep this in mind. I am not a vet. I'm not an aquaculture expert. My degree is in chemical engineering, all right? So do not take anything I say here as fact. This is simply what I do when I do these procedures on my fish. I've done it several times in the past and it's always worked out successfully for me. If you are going to try to replicate this procedure, please do a lot of your own research and understand the risks. If you mess a couple things up, you could very easily accidentally kill your goldfish. I'm not a vet. None of this is veterinary advice. If you're going to copy, do it at your own risk. So what I'll be using is two different buckets, one for Jigglypuff to get to sleep in and one for her to recover in. I'm also going to be using this air pump right here to keep the water oxygenated. So let's plug that in. And now we have oxygenation to both buckets so she doesn't suffocate. I will be using clove oil to help put her to sleep. I'll be shaking it up in this water bottle right here. I'll be using these cuticle scissors to actually do the wen trimming. And I will be using some Goldie salt in the recovery tank to help her recover a little bit. So I'm just going to be doing a mild salt bath dose. I'm basically going to be doing about 1 tablespoon for the 2 gallons of water in here. Just a mild salt dose to help perk her up after the procedure. So I'm going to mix this salt up nice and well, and after it's fully mixed, I'm actually going to take Jigglypuff from this bucket, and I'm going to put her in the recovery bucket while I prep this bucket. Now this will be the sleepy bucket. This is the water that's going to put her to sleep. So I'm going to get a little bit of this water, and I'm going to put it in this water bottle right here. And then I'm going to get the clove oil. So I'm putting the clove oil in here so I can easily dissolve it. And there's about 2 gallons of water in here, and I'm going to do 4 drops per gallon, which means I'm going to do a total of 8 drops. So I have to count this very carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You want to basically make a clove oil emulsion. You want to make an emulsion to where all those little droplets of oil become very, very small. This is going to put the goldfish to a mild sleep. And now we're going to add this clove oil to the water here. So we're going to add all that clove oil solution. Now this bath right here is ready for Jigglypuff to enter. All right, so let's take Jigglypuff right here. As you can see, she's very active still. She's still wiggling around. And we're going to put her in the... Oh yeah, she's definitely very active. So the whole point of the clove oil is I'm not going to put her out entirely, but what that clove oil is going to do is it's going to numb her down and it's going to slow her down a lot. And I'm going to need that because when I'm using these sharp scissors around her eyes, I don't want her thrashing around. I want her very still. Now the thing I have to be careful of is I don't want to have her in here for too long because too long in the clove oil will actually peacefully euthanize her. It'll peacefully euthanize... Oh, she's getting stuck up. She's getting stuck. It'll peacefully euthanize her, and I do not want that. So I'm going to monitor her very closely. Once I observe her becoming very limp, that's when I'm going to take her out and start doing the procedure. All right, a couple minutes in, and you can already see Jigglypuff is beginning to slow down. But as you can see, not slow enough. it's only been about 10 minutes, but Jigglypuff here, look at her. She looks out. She looks sleeping. And when we lift her up, all right, she feels very still. You can see the mouth moving. All right, I think we're ready to begin. All right, so let's lift her up here. So this was the rough side here. This was the side where a lot of mass needed to be removed. So I'm going to carefully come down and snip. And I like that I'm not seeing much of a reaction from her. I like that I'm not seeing much of a reaction from her because that means she's asleep to a degree. But I like that I still see mouth flinches. You know, that means I didn't overdose her. Now it can be hard. It can be hard to get some of these chunks here. Up. We're getting a little bit of movement. Sorry, buddy. We're getting just a little flinches of movement as we're taking some of this mass around the eye away. Oh. Yeah, so this part right here, that has to be removed. All right, relax, Jiggly. Relax, Jiggly. There we go. We're getting a little more eye exposure now. Okay, we're getting a little more eye exposure now. We're getting a little more. Relax, Jiggly, I know. See, she would be freaking out a lot more now if I didn't have the clove oil to numb it up a little bit. Just got to be super careful around the eyes. So I'm going to dip her back in just to get her re-moisturized. You know, you don't want to have them out of the water for too long. And wow, already that eye is looking a lot better. That eye vision there is looking a lot better. I just want to remove that top chunk. But it's this bottom mass here. When you push on this right here, sometimes the eye pushes back. That's why you see the eye moving. I'm not actually hitting the eye. I'm pushing down here and the eye is moving. All right, let's just cut into this mass here a little bit. It's all right, buddy. And you'll notice how there's not that much blood. That's because, you know, in this area, there's not a crazy amount of blood vessels and there's not a crazy amount of nerve endings either, which is good because that would make this a lot more painful and difficult of a procedure if there was a bunch of nerve endings and if there was a bunch of blood vessels. A lot of people ask, like, does this hurt the fish? Are they in a lot of pain during all this? And honestly, not very much. Like, it's definitely not comfortable, especially being out of the water and having all this pressure around their face. But as you can see, there's not much blood. There's also just not a lot of nerve endings here. This tissue is it wouldn't be as painful if I was doing something like this on her actual body. But honestly, when I look in that eye now, that eye looks a lot better. So let's go to our other eye here. And as you can see, there's some on this eye as well. It wasn't as bad as the other eye. So this chunk right here, this chunk, there you go. That was one of the chunks that really needed to come off. Let's just dig into here as well. A lot of this mass over here on this bottom part. There we go. And then we also got to come to the back here. We got to come to the back and remove this mass. All right, come on. Just snip it off. There we go. Oh, look at that. That is great. So this was very easy to go into. So we'll remove, you see all that chunks of wen there? So we'll remove that down. That eye looks good. If we put her back in the water, that eye looks good and that eye looks good. I think we have a successful wen trimming. Let me just peek at the bottom part of this eye just a little more. Just a little more. All right. That looks great. And I think this one's good too. Just want to see if I can maybe remove a little bit more off the bottom here. Yeah, no, it's too risky. I'm going too close to the eye. All right, let's put her in the recovery tank now. So let's put her in the recovery tank, and you know, she's still asleep. She's still very asleep, but there's no clove oil in this bucket right here, so she should wake up pretty soon. I'm hoping within 15 to 20 minutes. So I like to take them and then just hold the air stone directly underneath them. So I'm holding the air stone like directly underneath her gills, and this is going to cause, you know, a lot more water to flush through those gills, and a lot of oxygenated water to flush through those gills, and hopefully, you know, kind of get that clove oil, and it's eugenol. The active ingredient is eugenol. Hopefully flush that out of her system a little bit sooner. What I do like to see though is you see the gill movement there. Okay, just about 10 minutes in the recovery bath, and as you can see, that is a swimming goldfish again. So we got Jigglypuff swimming around now, and let's take a good close look at her. Look at her, swimming away from me like normal. And there's a little bit of blood there, so you can see that little bit of blood, but she can see now. She can see now. And she's fully awake and she's swimming around. So one more thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dab a little bit of methylene blue on those open parts. And just on these open areas, hey, chill out. All right, I need her to chill for a moment. See, maybe I should have done this while she was still very asleep. Hey. All right, I'm sorry, buddy. All right, on these open areas, I like to dab a little methylene blue because this almost like seals it up, and this prevents infection. So I'm just going to put that around. Okay. Let me get the other side too. I do this for any kind of open sore or open cut in any of my fish. I'll dab on methylene blue on there. All right. Let's put her back now. Back into recovery. Now she's got blue eyes. So Jigglypuff over here has been in the recovery bucket for about, I'd say, half an hour. And boy, does she look like a raccoon now with that blue there. But she is very active. She's fully vigorous again and active, and her eyes look very good. So honestly, she's ready to go back in her tank. We got all of Jigglypuff's friends over here, Mr. Clean, Stacy, Codeman, everyone very eager to get their Jigglypuff back. So let's lift Jigglypuff out of here now with much improved vision. Much improved vision. Let's just take a close look at that. That is great. That is a lot clearer vision right there. A lot better than what we had initially. So we'll drop her in there, and it's as simple as that. She is back swimming around, and she can finally see her food and everything a lot clearer. She's definitely happy to be in a tank again. She does not like being confined to a bucket. She's like, look at all this space. Look at all this free swimming space I got now. Man, she really does look like a raccoon. I don't think anyone else here really needs a one trimming right now. She was the only one. Codeman? Oh, damn, actually. Does Codeman need one? Honestly, maybe. Dang. Dang, actually, yeah. All right, I'll do that another day. Yeah, Codeman actually, definitely. Man, Codeman, when your one grows so big? All right, Codeman might need one too.